Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. This is Ramania Ingram, your spiritual doula. We are all healing and we're all on the path to spiritual growth and development. And if you feel led to ask me a question while I'm on here, feel free. This is impromptu, of course. You know me, I don't usually do evening live streams, but I wanted to share an aha moment with you that was really defining. It allowed me to have a spiritual awakening to another level. And I wanted to share with you all that to clear up a little something. Spiritual awakening doesn't just happen once in your life. There's so many levels to this existence, spiritually, energetically. And we awaken to the different levels. And it's a powerful experience. And I've been having multiple, awakening moments to new ways to think and understand reality, physical reality, and how it relates to the external reality. So my aha moment. So as you all know, I've been working on and off of my car, and it started with the spark plugs. And I was like, okay, I shared with you how the spark plugs were, a part of, what was going on internally, and just doing a maintenance check on, what I know, what I don't know, what I have questions about. And so anyway, my battery started to go out, and I'm like, what's going on? And I had to jump it, and it would stay on for a couple of days, and then it would go out again, and I had to jump it again. And then it was, then I went to that AutoZone, advanced auto type of place. And they were like, oh, you didn't tighten the arms on your battery. It's wobbly. So that is causing a misfire. Like there's not enough juice going to the battery. And, and if it stays like this, your battery's going to die. You won't be able to jump it again. So put the screws in, tighten it up. It's like, oh, okay. Because I had the battery initially checked, and it was like, it's a good battery. And so I kept driving, kept going on. And then like a week ago, it went out again. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I needed to jump. I bought a portable charger. It wouldn't turn over for the portable charger. Took it back. I talked to like 3 different mechanics, and each one checked my battery and said, oh, the battery's good. The battery's good. I don't know what it is. And they were like, well, do this and, do that. And so I was paying each person a little bit at a time to help me figure out what was externally going on with my life, as it pertains to the car. So and then one mechanic said, hey, it's your automatic car starter. Your remote car starter is not attached. So that could be draining your battery, and it, cause an explosion. And so then I contacted one of those places, and they said, oh, I'm going to charge you $65 to come in and look at it. And I was like, to look at it and tell me, so you're going to tell me if that's not the problem, I still have to give you $65. He was like, yeah. So then I got him to, tell me over the phone that it wasn't the problem, just hearing what type of car I had and whatnot. And so I'm like, all right, so if it's none of these problems, what is it? Now I went to the 4th mechanic, and he was like, you know what? You could have a dead cell in your battery. And I'm like, wow. And he was like, that would be the reason why it won't jump. And sometimes these machines that check your batteries, they misread it, but it has to be a dead cell. So he was like, just chalk it up, go get a new battery, drop it in, and you see if that's the problem. So I went back to the spot, and actually they were like, oh yeah, what's the matter with it now? Well, I needed to read, because now I've had to have a jump. Every time I turn off the car, I need a jump for it to come on, and nothing will work us up another car. And so I get there, he checks it, And this long printout comes up, and they were like, yes, now there's a dead sale. And because it was something that you did is not under warranty. And I was like, okay, so you cannot give me you can't give me a replacement battery. He was like, well, if you still have the warranty. And he walked away. So the other guy went in, looked at it, and was like, yeah, we got it in stock. And they allowed me to trade it out without any money exchange. We dropped it in the car. We tightened up the arms, turned it. It came right on. And it's been coming on ever since. How does that relate to my life and your lives and everybody else's life? Is that we have to look at every external experience that we have. Anything that's going on in your life externally can be traced back to an internal issue. The battery, if you don't have the battery, the car won't work. Hear what I say. If the battery doesn't work, your car won't start. And so my battery was dying. And it's like, what's going on internally inside of me? What's happening? That one aha moment was like, I am not fully 100% completing my task. And so I'm doing it enough that it can run, but I'm not finishing it 100%. And that showed up with the battery because I didn't tighten the arms on the battery enough, and there was a wiggle. And so that caused the misfiring to happen, and that caused the battery to go dead. And so I'm like, I'm up to 2 and 3 in the morning, wanting to help people and creating and manifesting in order to assist other people. And I'm not getting enough sleep. And so it was wild for me to go to sleep at 9:45. It's wild for me to go to sleep at 8:30. But it's like, I need to sleep. And then I realized, you know what? I'm not drinking enough water. I'm not drinking enough water. And I'm meditating, but I'm not working out enough. Because I'm working at my computer and I'm already at home with my son. And it's like, I'm putting out and I'm moving and I'm moving. And there's nothing to fire into. I'm disconnected in ways that I don't need to be disconnected. And I looked at different aspects of my spiritual life and realized, you know what? I need to be in the present moment right now. And whatever's in front of me, I need to finish it 100%. Not, like, oh, it's working. Let me keep going. I need to make sure that it is pristine in its finality, or whatever you want to call it. And really dig deep. I'm working on my book, and it's working on being ready for Thanksgiving 2017. And I can see those little blind spots. I need to focus, and I need to contact my publisher, and my editor is finished, and I need to make sure I'm on task so that the book can be put out on time, because it is a extension of who I am spiritually and what I've been studying and what I've been learning. And this is what we all have to do for ourselves. This is everything. Our external reality is a mirror of our internal reality. So if we haven't been dwelling in self-care, if we have not been really focused internally on creating and completing the healing within our lives, is going to show up externally. And it was just like, my car helps me to be mobile. It helps me to go from point A to point B, to meet and greet and be of service to people, because I can get to them. And it's like, well, if I don't take care of the vehicle and the battery, the internal battery, then I'll be stuck. And I can't be stuck because we have a mission and we have a goal and we have everything. You know, we're healing and we're moving through space and time. And so this was one of those aha moments that I like, wow. And this is the second one I've had in 30 days, you know. And the first one I went to a conference, and it actually expanded my awareness and allowed me to actually see the problem of the car for what it was. Because before I even tell you that story, and I'm not even going to go in that story, but it did click in my mind that the moment I realized that it was in an internal issue, and once the internal issue started to unfold, and consciously my vehicle, my person, who I am authentically began to see what was internally happening, the manifestation of the car being fixed happened just like that. Because as I was driving, I was like, if I turn off this car, it's not going to start. And so I need to be in a spot where I can get a jump. But let me go into this automotive place, into this garage with these mechanics and see, because now I'm understanding. And then that moment, this mechanic, the fourth one, said, you have a dead cell. It's got to be that if it's not anything else. And then it read, because it had read, it was a good battery multiple times over the last week, making me seem like I was crazy. But the moment I did an internal check was the moment that the universe opened up and said, now let's get your car working, because you have started to take the steps to fix your internal reality. And that's what I wanted to just share with you, that epiphany that I had, because it's important. We're mothers, we're sisters, we're daughters, we're friends, we're co-workers, and we go about thinking that every problem that we're facing externally is somebody else. And it's not somebody else. It's us. It is who we are on the inside. And when we say, oh, I'm not going to be around them because they got negative energy, they're a reflection of what's going on inside of us. And so they've come into our sphere of awareness to show us those blind spots, those inner areas in our lives that we've turned a blind eye to. They're there to just open that up. And it's ugly. It is so very ugly to actually go in and say, the same thing I don't want to be around that person about is something that is resonating within me, because that's what it is. It resonates with you to the point where it's disturbing you because it's in you. The negativity, the joy, the pain, is something inside of you that has to be dealt with. And you're like, nah, I'm good. Well, there's something in space and time, in that space and time continuum, in that time loop that many of us are in until we realize that we're not in a time loop. When we go to the source of the time loop, it created a moment that we get locked into, and then it defines everything that we do and everything that we are. And you may not be doing it consciously, but you're doing it unconsciously. And you may not have it as a obvious trait, but it's something inside of you that has to come to the surface to be released. You have to sit in it and let it go. So then the people in your life and the situations and the issues and the challenges come up so that you can internally, deal with that shit. because that's what it is. It's just a lot of muck, and you have to bring light to it. And so when your car breaks down, it's guaranteed. It's linked to an internal, as above, so below, as inner, as well as outer. It's the exact same. Exact same. And I just want you to sit in that for a moment, and just sit in that place and let it resonate with you. What problems are you having? What concerns or challenges are you having at your job, with your kids, with your business, with your friends, with your lovers, with your husband, with your finances? Just be in the right now, in the moment. And like, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z, but what is it on the inside of me that's causing this havoc externally? And that was my aha moment. If you got any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer. If you have any comments, feel free to share. Welcome to everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice. It was very defining for me. And even though I've been doing this for like 17 years on my own, and I'm really sharing it with the world now in ways that I didn't before, because I had to deal with some internal issues myself. I was locked in the past. I was locked in an event 22 years ago. An event happened. My father passed away 22 years ago. And I blamed him for leaving me. And that caused a ripple effect. And it actually defined how I related to men and how I went about my relationships. And now, because I had that spiritual awakening and I learned how to put the past behind me and heal that moment and that space and time, is now my relationships with my ex-husband and my current mate have shifted. And it's not them. They never changed. It is me who had this awakening, and I stopped this time loop from continually being a part of my life. And then I realized there was another time loop that happened 32 years ago. And I dealt with that issue. And it's like I needed somebody to show me and help me to actually get to the origin of where the time loop was taking place. See, we can't do it on our own because we're afraid our inner children are locked in this moment. Like, I am not going to let you get to this moment. And I'll say this before I go. It's dangerous to go back in time by yourself because you're emotionally attached to that significant event, that that traumatic event that caused post-traumatic stress syndrome. When anything that resembles your origin event takes place. And so you go back there on your own without the proper guidance, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get locked in there. You're going to get locked in the past because you're going to be emotionally attached to it because you're living it every day. And then that's going to consume you and make it harder for you to live in the present moment. So I have to say that everybody knows a healer. Everybody has somebody who can guide them. You're here with me right now. And, if you need my assistance, everything's confidential. Let's have a conversation. Let's do a PM. And it's all about conversations. We're just going to have a conversation, and you're going to safely go to the origin with my guidance and assistance. And we're going to stop the time loops from happening so that we can live in the present, because when you live in the present without the past dictating your future, it is just, oh my gosh, it is nirvana. It is hetep. It is like you can create any and everything right now. It is living right now, not in the future, not in the past. And every sound and vibration that comes out of you creates the future, which will soon be the present that you wanted. Again, I appreciate all of you who are listening to the sound of my voice. I'm Araminia Ingram. I'm your spiritual doula, and we're all healing, every single one of us. And we're all growing spiritually, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally growing and developing. If there are no questions, then you'll see me on the 11th at 10 o'clock when your healing and your conditionings come for you. Oh, and by the way, we have open enrollment for the Energetic Womb Detox. You can go on my website, www.raminiaingram.com, and join the Energetic Womb Detox, which is phase 1 of the spiral dance. And let's do this. Peace and blessings.